Thank you for giving me this opportunity to the entire Agriculture Info team. I'll go ahead with my talk because I was given 30 minutes. I'll try to finish off that so that I can take more questions from the audience. Hope my slides are moving now. Can someone confirm?
No, ma'am, you are in the first slide only. You're moving the slides? Yeah, yep. now it is changed.
Maybe a little,
Yeah.
Okay. Coming to agriculture value chain, there is a lot of things which we need to be really concerned with, because the rural economic development is really linked to the agriculture value chain, where we want to connect all the stakeholders who are operating individually, so that the value chain is operated in a streamlined way, and where we can increase the competition between the buyers and markets, and also linking up the liberalization of agriculture rate, or maybe you can linking up the advance in technologies. You just have to see what is benefiting for the farmers. Through this value chain approach, we envisage to see further and go ahead with the globalization, what we are looking forward for the Indian agriculture, where we can also speak about trade in international markets. So the concentration would be within the value chain, and the present scenario, what we are seeing is like the supply chain is really disorganized, where different stakeholders needs to be connected using a value chain approach, and where the efficient management systems can be taken forward, and where we can benefit the final price to the farmers. So coming to what is a value chain? Value chain is a business-oriented approach which aims at capturing the best value at all stages of production, processing, trading, linking from farmers through traders, processors, and retailers up to the final consumer. So here we are talking about farm to fork. So where the farmers are now producing, so we are talking about production to market again. So we link different stages of the agriculture value chain, and then say how the benefit to the farmer can be done. So what is the value chain is all about? When it comes to agriculture, it describes the range of activities and set of actors that bring agriculture product, as I described, it's from production to final consumption, wherein at each stage a value is added to the product, wherein the final product comes in a very good mode. So value chains are the key framework for understanding how inputs and services are brought together and then used to transform the agriculture, or how the manufacturing process is done to make a product, and how the product then moves physically from the producer to the consumer. And also, we also emphasize on how the value is increasing through the process and how it is going along. Understand business to business relationship, increasing the efficiency of its performance, and other ways to enable businesses to increase the productivity and also add value. So what are the uses of a value chain? When it comes to saying that, it's a useful analytical tool that helps understand overall trends of industrial reorganization, and also identify the change agents, who are the key stakeholders, which creates that additional value to the chain, and then leverage the points for policy and also technical and technological interventions. So coming to advantages, we can say it provides a reference services and the business environment. It also contributes to the pro-poor initiatives and better linking of small business within the market. So value chain approach also helps to guide and drive high impact and sustainable initiatives, also increases the competitiveness, and there is a lot of scope of entrepreneurship and the growth of small and medium enterprises, where my current organization is also working on. So this slide explains a simple value chain, how it is linked to. So in traditional approach, the farmers are doing the production, someone else like traders are coming and buying that product, and they are selling to the markets. And again, in market, it is differentiated with a different kind of players like retailers, bulk buyers, and everything. But why are we talking about a value chain? See, this value chain only is applicable when farmers come together and say we can operate at the different stages. So what is a value chain? So what are the stages which are involved in pre-production? This slides explains very clearly that if in the pre-production, like from seeds to fertilizers and the operations and the agriculture machinery and a kind of agroeconomic practices and GAP practices, all these come into pre-production. Again, the production activity is taken forward, like the entire crop is grown, and from there it comes to post-production, where from harvest it is called post-production activity. Here we are saying the farmer is involved only till harvest. That is the major criteria where we are emphasizing from working from many years, where we say that after harvest the farmer should be gaining knowledge to hold on that harvest produce, so that for a couple of months or a season where he can hold, if he can hold the harvested produce, he can gain little more value for the commodity what he produces. Again, after production, after harvest, what is the process divided? So it can be direct sales to traders, it may be sales to manufacturers, or the farmers may be involved in form of food and product preservation, like cold storage, warehouse management and everything. So, and again, after manufacturing and everything, it goes into food and product preservation. All these segment of activities comes under post-production. Again, it goes into industrial processing, where it is involving the transportation and all these structures. So when it comes to agriculture value chain, the concept of agriculture value chain in simple terms can be understood like through slide, where we say the inputs are required for any farmer to start the farming activity, and the proper agricultural practices needs to be done. Then harvesting, procurement. This is a basic knowledge of any agriculture activity. But here the farmers or any kind of earlier age farmers are doing only till harvesting. They are not even involved in the procurement. They are depending on the external players or the government agencies to go for the procurement operations. So we, through this agriculture value chain, we emphasize that the farmers work in the procurement area, where they have strong command on the product what they are selling, then involve into marketing or processing or retailing. So the concept of agricultural value chain, when covers the full range of activities and the participants involved. See, here it's not only the activities, but also combining all the stakeholders, whoever is working in that, in form of a kind of a single entity, where we can say we are operating from farm to gate or farm to fork or to a consumer table. So value chain is often defined as a sequence of value added activities from production to processing to consumption and commercialization. Here again, the entire system of the current scenario of how it is done is, this is the representative once the farmers have done, it may be the post harvest, like post production, I should say, how it is handled. It may be differentiated within the different players. There might be agents or brokers, there might be local assemblers, there might be trade. See, these are like different kind of steps which are involving from inputs on from production, trade, processing, distribution, and then consumption. So there is a lot of channels where we can say so many people are getting involved, and these many activities are taken forward. So when it's a kind of a representative table where it is taken, the data might be long back, but it also helps us to understand where the actual income of the farmers is being lost. It's not in the production. We don't have to teach now how to produce a grain to the farmers, but we need to teach how to manage after the production, because the most of the gap, what they were, if you consider this single table, we can say the land holding capacities and the category of farmers where they are categorized into, the percentage of farmers. If you see this, the most of the percentage of farmers, the highest percentage of farmers lie into the submarginal, who are less than 0.4, like half acre or 1/4 acre or anything. So again, this differentiation, it's like most of the farmers, like 30% if covered into that. So we have to work on creating strategies for them to be evolving into high range of farming. So when it comes to value chain analysis, what are the factors, what are the reference points which needs to be considered? And again, for each activity, who are your customers? And also, how do you want to create a value in a way that each activity is performed or benefited. So when we are concentrating on what needs to be done or changed to provide a greater value for each stakeholder, the entire value chain gets benefited. So when it comes to simply when you're telling about productivity enhancement, how you are able to do it, maybe you can talk about farming practices, best agriculture practices, or can say productivity enhancement practices by involving high quality inputs like seeds, fertilizers, or saying that good practices like natural farming or organic inputs, or this is how a different kind of enhancement can be done throughout the production area, where we can encourage certain kind of activities where the lows which are using less water, or creating more structures like which can help multi-cropping structures or intercropping farming or integrated farming. So these kind of different activities needs to be involved, because the farmers have gone into a single cropping pattern where this is not helping them to really enhance their product. It's not only the varieties which is there, but also how you are planting your seed material and how much spacing is there. Every little factor works when it comes to the productivity enhancement. Also, which type of crop you're sowing as per the season and as per the moisture or the humidity level what you're having, and also how your water levels are, groundwater levels are there. So you have to really work on that particular area. It's a customized area of activity where you have to see that particular stage is benefited by your intervention. So it may be like small things also might give you a better chance of increasing the productivity. Say deep ploughing, soil solarization. There are list of activities which can be done. So when you're studying agriculture or basic horticulture, or there are many new models coming up to promote integrated farming, where livestock and agriculture are working together, where the manuals are created and the soil rejuvenation is carried out and soil conservation is done. So there are many of activities which can be taken forward to create the strength when it comes to only productive enhancement, I'm telling. So like this, if you're talking about reduction in cost of cultivation, why can't you use organic manures? Why can't you use stressed or enhanced beneficial, or how we are reducing the pest numbers? First of all, control. So we try to, or any agriculture practitioner should try to go for a prevention mode of activities, where they say there is no requirement for control measures, because once the pest is infested to the crop, it's difficult to control, but it is easy to have a preventive measure to make that crop more sustainable, to not be affected with the pest. So this kind of activities which can be done, which also help in the cost of cultivation, where minimal pest damage would be there, and growing healthy plants, which also help where you are when you're building healthy soils, obviously it helps in the establishment of healthy plants and other practices which reduces the crop stress. So there are different types. So when we talk about non-pesticide management practices, these are the small practices where we try to educate farmers, or create the awareness on saying that these are the common practices which can be done without huge investments. Like they can reduce even the cost of cultivation by using this age-old practices which are proven by nature. And also when we talk about nature, it also, so how to make use of it. If a bird, when I say bird purchase is there, when you put that make that available, the birds will come and sit there and will remove the pest by itself. So now we don't have birds, so we don't have these structures laid there. These are like small sticks which are giving some space for the birds to come and sit. They remove the pest, like yellow sticky plates, where the small infested pests can be just sticking to the first plates and it will not affect your crop. Similarly, doing the trap crops, where the colored flowers will attract the pests which are not of which are for less value and which will not affect the major crop, which might be like the trap crops or border crops or anything. Pheromone traps is there again by maintaining lures which are specifically for the harmful insects. Those lures can be used in the pheromone traps, and then say this can reduce the pest damage. And community bonfires is there where you can say the locally available this ones. Similarly, manure production like azolla maintenance, which is low cost, and again tank silt application where the governments are promoting like because this has a lot of potential. The natural soil is given there where it is less of chemical, and when this is applied as a manure, it gives you strength to the soil, and also lot of vermicompost filling and nadep compost and all these neem cakes, and all these are natural practices which can help you to grow more produce at the lower cost. And this is the previous slides were talking about production. How about marketing? If you want to intervene with the marketing, how we are doing? So agriculture marketing covers the services involved in moving an agricultural product from the farm to consumer. So how are these things? Numerous interconnected activities are involved where how the production is planned, how it is graded, how it is sorted, or how it is packed, and how best it is being transported to reduce the spoilage, or else how it is stored in perfect temperatures to reduce the losses. And also when it comes to value addition, again, food processing plays a major big role where we can say it helps in increasing the shelf life of the product, and also helps in distributing to different markets. So again, we also need to check whether this product is really truly available, market is truly available for this agriculture product. So the production needs to be planned as per the market. This is what we teach to the farmers. It's not that whatever you produce, you are able to sell, but produce the product which the market is requesting you. Market is in requirement, so that you can get the benefit. So these are the these are the things which you need to play around the farming, where you can inspire the farmers or make them aware of what are the practices needs to be done. Then we can go and make them more sustainable throughout the process. So again, when we ensure the competitive marketing to the farmers are ready to take up any kind of new initiatives, and whether these middlemen are really involved or are they taking any losses, we need to understand. The next again step of marketing or the value chain is processing. So what are the possibilities of processing? That maybe it be just grading and sorting. This also comes as a primary processing, where you are removing all the dust and creating the value to the product. Simple grading or sieving the grains into, like, the dust is removed and only the grain is given, because the product is already done, the value added through this process, it has a special value. So again, how is the transformation between the local and in a local area, and how best you can really draw these commodities in the semi-finished or the finished product. So again, you have to decide in what form you're selling your commodity. So may it be raw, as it is when it is harvested, it has a less value. Again, when you're grading and processing, to just sieving and putting in a separate bag with a proper label, it has a separate value. Again, if you are going for the next stage of processing, saying you're removing the husk and grain. So I can explain you in this format where we can say all these stuff can be taken care of. The second aspect, what we need to take care is how do we secure true value addition from processing and balance reward among the stakeholders. Again, this is again a big question to everyone, saying that how are we really creating value and also distributing that value towards all stakeholders. So coming to warehouse, the next stage is like, again, warehouse and trading. This also plays an important role where the farmers can benefit just by storing that produce for a couple of months. They can really benefit about from the commodity. Are we really thinking on establishing warehouses? We should, because everyone understands the product, the commodity, when it is produced, has a very low value. And once the product is not available, or when you're storing that product for a couple of months and selling them at the later stages, you will always have the value. So which factor is acting here? So we need to think on these terms where we are saying warehousing is the key place where we need to really emphasize on, and we should train the farmers on these aspects where we have to say that just hold the produce for a couple of months and then sell it. You will surely have the benefit. So this is how we have to work across the stages of the value chain and say this is the place where you can benefit. Okay, coming to trading again, whether you're selling in the market as soon as the MSME procurement is there by acting as an intermediary or government procurement agencies, or you can help in the form of creating storage structures for the agriculture produce, or you can say processed products or owning a warehouse. Everything is a business opportunity here. That's the reason I was telling there is a lot of business opportunity when you're talking about enterprises and development of the value chain. There are a lot of business opportunities. Which one is beneficial to you and how is that beneficial to the farmer? When you can identify these two elements and you can say, I wish to start an enterprise, then you have a chance. Again, processing. So processing is again an important stage where most of the farmers or most of the entities are really not concentrating, and even the government has realized that we have to really support farmers or any entrepreneurs in the processing, and now the things have moved up on a very big scale. So I'll just brief you about my experience when I was doing this value chain mapping. And I'll take another 2 minutes to just brush through how we have done this value chain mapping. When you're talking about a value chain, we just identified the prioritized crops based on considering one location. Just taken data where we have agriculture department data where we have finalized like prioritization of the crop. So we have prioritized 3 crops where the most of the product is being, if you say Hyderabad is the location where I want to create this value chain. So then we say what are the major crops which are usually grown by the farmers. So we didn't create a new value chain, but we created we really mapped those value chain factors where the gaps are being there. So once the gap is identified, it's easy to plan or design an intervention where to work on these gaps and address those gaps, and then we can identify the product flow and margins across the value chain. So this is how the secondary data analysis looked out, and we have divided into kharif crops where the major, like even if you're taking about Telangana, because we started with the TRIJV project when we were working in South Telangana, then we took like this kind of a screenshot where we like first priority is mapped, second priority is mapped, third priority is mapped, and then we will talk about the first priority map and how many crops are there. So this is the, like we were given 150 mandals of operations, so we have to do 10 potential crops in those 150 mandals and then develop value chains. How are we developing these value chains? It all depends again the product availability and everything. So, and we designed this a team of who are working on this project designed these maps where we can say these areas are pockets of this product. So we can say product wise mapping was done. First crop, second crop, and third crop, third prioritized crop. So in this way, when we are talking about, when we take a case study of red gram value chain, we identified different players who are there, which are operating as a chain. We identified them, and then we mapped when we did crop situation analysis based on the identified crops. And when we talk about mapping these livelihoods or crop situation analysis, we were dealing with cropping, production, marketing, and leakages, investments and expenditure. So we were designing these all strategies in the form of a mapping where we took tools of crop situation analysis tools, livelihood mapping tools, and farmers profile, where we combined all these and then created a like these data were collected and the situation analysis was worked out. This livelihood mapping was done because we were thinking whether they were dependent wholly on agriculture or the other livelihoods, what they were looking forward, like are they dependent on poultry, or they're dependent on livestock or any other handicrafts or any village industries, or you might name it, or you have all the structures already there. Similarly, we collected the farmer profile based on their economic status, and then we designed what is their requirement and how are they operating. And so we designed all these structures in that. When we considered like margins across the chain, then we say a kind of red gram value chain, if you take as an instance, these were the margins which were covered. So if you see that once it has gone to from retailers or red gram, when it goes to traders, were taking 15% margins. When based on the data what we collected, we came up to this kind of mapping. Again, from there, when it comes to processing, it is again 20% margin is there. When it comes to again middlemen who are taking those processed product into distribution model, there is again 20 to 30% margin. So when you're combining all these margins and creating a value chain, then you realize, okay, this is the area where we need to emphasize those farmers to work on. If we can work, make them work along the value chain, then the benefit would be in a different scale. Similarly, what are the identified gaps in the value chain? At each stage, if you are able to identify the gaps, say pre-production, it will be timely availability of seed or the inputs or farm machinery. When it comes to production, if the shortage of labor or high interest on the crop loan, these were the identified gaps. Again, when it comes to trading, weighing manipulations, high commission and trading, and at the warehouses and warehousing, just very important. So processing, when it comes, there is expensive modern machineries and technology, difficult in finding the skilled labor. So again, marketing, different marketing systems needs to be worked out, and then say these market agencies can be worked out. So based on the identified gaps, we were able to create the interventions where we have to emphasize those farmers to be working on. So in this basis, so we have identified that we have again distributed our interventions like pre-harvest and post-harvest. When it comes to pre-harvest, it is timely availability of good quality inputs and availability of extension services for increasing the productivity, and also timely availability of funds for taking those crop loans and insurance. When it comes to post-harvest, it was trading, warehousing, and primary processing and secondary processing. So when we combine these interventions and the at each stage of value chain, and then put up these kind of interventions through an FPC. FPC again is a farmer producer company where these farmers come together and work towards the benefit of each other, and also benefiting themselves in the form of a business. This farmer producer organizations come into picture. Again, when we were mapping this value chains through the FPC integrations, see, at each stage you will be having a kind of benefit. Say if you consider this simple diagram where we can say that net current income of a farmer who is growing red gram at his farm would be like 12,000 per acre. But when we are intervening at different stages with specific savings in cost of production, with whatever I have labeled, mentioned earlier, 1,000 rupees is saved. Saving is also an additional benefit. So again, when it comes to productivity enhancement, when we are using high quality inputs or using a kind of technology or agriculture machinery or using different high productivity produce, we can use the productivity enhancement. Similarly, when we are providing through an FPC, if we are providing that loans to the farmer, again 800 rupees is saved. When it comes to farm grade procurement, if you're collecting all the farmers of an FPC and procurement is done through FPC, we can save 1,600 rupees. Again, when it comes to effective price relation, because you have a quality product at a different defined quality and commodities available, you can bargain for a good price. Again, when was able to store that product, again 1,000 rupees is saved. Again, if that is processed, primary processing also, if you can do a certain kind of advantages will be there. So which is possible by an FPC, which maybe it might not be possible for each individual farmer, but through farmer producer company or farmer producer organization, these are possible. And with this intervention, we can say from 12,000, we can go increase their income to 20,000. These may be varied based on the area where you're operating. Maybe they are getting 12,000 or 14,000 at the net current income also. They might not have farm gate procurement. You will be losing at but each step when we are calculated, and if we can do it in this process and transfer the benefit to the farmers, then we can achieve the doubling of farmers' income very easily. So I'm just giving representation of other agriculture value chains which we have done. We have done a similar value chain analysis for green gram, we have done for soya bean, we have done for the castor, we have done for the black gram, jowar, groundnut, Bengal gram, maize, and also vegetable. Why did I share a vegetable in a separate slide? Because this was very attractive to the farmers, because vegetables are short duration crops. They can be grown. If you have water facility, we can go 3 times, because none of the other crops can be grown more than twice. Even if you take rice or wheat, they can only grow in the highly water available areas twice, but not thrice. But vegetables, you can just shift the crops. If you're doing multi-cropping with the vegetables, you can go 3 to 4 crops also. And the additional benefit is, if you are intervening and at each stage, here the value chain might be, it might be like differing from different vegetables, but it's usually double almost. When you're the net income, if you can consider as 20,000, the expected income will be 40,000. And this is the additional advantage would be 3 times you can do. So this is like, we were more concentrating on vegetable value chain, and also pilot interventions like vegetable pandals, where we observed a lot of a single intervention can also increase the productivity, and thereby also we emphasized on creating collection centers where we can say procurement and grading, and we were teaching procurement of vegetables, how to do, and also grading and how to market, and simple interventions like collecting your vegetables in the crates will give duration. Again, when you're storing in cold storages, it gives additional shelf life. Again, when you're marketing directly, it's easy for you to see. It's difficult for me to say that product is good when it is thrown up, it's kept in the farm. But once you're graded the product and put in this form in the kind of crates, and I can say when I'm seeing the crate itself, I can say this product has value. So when you can share that, so this can be done. Similarly, we have done certain pilot interventions in groundnut, where we can say increase of it's almost doubled here also. Again, similarly, we did some pilot interventions in red gram. Similarly, we were also working with different government agencies, where also these farmers and everyone were working on, where we convergence was playing a major role, and also similarly, monitoring systems are also important when you're working with such huge farmer structures, and also when you're working across your value chain. Again, MSI reports and how to design these field visits, and also bookkeeping and everything. Each thing can be given importance, and if it is given importance, and if it can impact the farmer's life, that is ultimate goal which you will be approaching for. So again, the key approaches which we were doing was like integrated model, processing and value addition, where again we are talking about compact area operation, where we can say all these farmers can work in a compact area with more of aggressive value chain approaches, and also different partnerships, multi commodities, and also connecting to consumer. So challenges and constraints also we do have during these operations, and financial linkages was the major challenging position, where we could not get much of seed capital or working capital to the FPOs and staff positioning. These were like small things which we can really address. So specific recommendations would be policy interventions, getting benefits from the schemes, and getting the advantage of the existing extension systems, and again going to facilitating the setting up the effective and functioning of value chain stakeholder committees. And again, there are a lot of things which can be undertaken. So again, establish regional core teams, and training of these farmers or the value chain players or actors in the value chain concept, and sensitizing them of need for collaboration, and also sensitizing these actors for the importance of value creation and value capturing. So these were the actual constraints where we were facing ahead. And now we have a different kind of approach, where we are working about building the capacity of the actors, where we are addressing good agricultural practices, good manufacturing practices, and hazard analysis. All these standards will be done.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants now. In the meantime, yeah, stop sharing the screen. Okay, the first question is, how has supply chain impacted the agriculture industry?
how the supply chain impacted the agriculture industry.
Yeah.
So I will tell about examples, right? So if I'm talking about farmers, when it comes to farmers, because we have to talk this under value chain approach and also taking multiple stakeholders at individual level. Right. That is the reason when we are talking about value chain again, it will happen only when you're connecting all these dots and forming a kind of a structure where it can be operated. So supply chain, if you consider that farmer is able to produce 10 tons of paddy, right? If he is not well connected to the trader, or if he is not well connected to the processor, so what is he going to do? So if the supply chain is not streamlined or well connected, all these problems would arise. So when we say that this kind of problem is arising, and then we can say, what should I say? How are we addressing this problem, and how best we can address this solution? Then I have a solution saying that when an FPC is working towards this, the supply chain management would be really easy, that few farmers will be working on production and few farmers will be working on streamlining the supply chain, who is going into market and who is selling the product. And again, there are also different players which will be connected to these farmer producer organizations or farmers or group of farmers, where it's easy for, see, if I am a trader, say, or else if I'm a manufacturer, for me, it is difficult to go to reach out to each and every farmer and plan my procurement, isn't it? But if I'm talking to a group of farmers where I can say this kind of amount of product is available there, and then say, okay, if it's easy for me to procure at one shot or one place, isn't it easy for me to do? But if all these players are connected to the value chain, then I will get an information, right? If not, I'm individually operating. Every individual stakeholder is playing at their individual and they're contributing. But what are we talking here when we are talking about value chain playing, or value chain, what should I say, emphasis on value chains? Then we say we connect all these stakeholders through our concept, and then we say this is the benefit what we are giving to the each stakeholder. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. What are the main problems in agri supply chain?
You name it, you have it. Logistics is the main problem, because again, how it is being transferred to one place or the other. Again, getting financial assistance for procurement is again the problem. And I should say manufacturing industry, because there is a lot of scope for manufacturing industry to do, say, primary processing or secondary processing. So these are all gaps. So we need to address each one on one, and you cannot be like one day show or 1 year show. It has to be like a continuous effort done by many stakeholders. It's not single stakeholder can take it up and say, I'm doing the entire value chain. It's difficult. So in each individual player should be connected to the value chain, but have his or her own benefit through an entity or an individual or a kind of community organization. You can do it.
Okay. Can you tell us about the activities of Agrighar Service Private Limited in Hyderabad?
Yeah. So if you can mention about Agrighar as a service, I'll just take 5 minutes then, because it's a long story. So when I was working on this agri value chains and farmer producer organizations, though I was motivating the farmers, but I could not see that benefit being transferred to them, because there is a lot of gap in financial assistance getting to the farmer doorstep, because none of the banking systems or none of the financing agents were trusting them to give that kind of working capital. Then I should say the birth of Agrighar has come in the fame, like that I will be connecting this platform where I'll be connecting all these stakeholders in different places. So consider Agrighar is a one-stop platform. So here we are also developing an online platform now, where we'll be connecting all these stakeholders on the value chain. If a student is requiring knowledge on where to study next, or where to get an employment, or what needs to be taken up, or is there any agriculture opportunity available to them? I'm talking about agriculture sector only. I'm not talking about all sectors, but I want to really concentrate on agriculture sector, because I have done my education there and I see a lot of scope in that, and I've established my enterprise in this sector. But when I'm talking about a platform which is like Agrighar by its name, it's connecting to farm to fork. Agrighar. So farm is again agriculture, and coming to ghar is home. Home, who is the customer? We are eating, right? So every consumer needs food. So what we believe in Agrighar is like every human being needs food for their survival. And for food, agriculture is the only source. So if we can emphasize on agriculture and say we can benefit those farmers or farming community or stakeholders, any stakeholder, there is a lot of scope in creating value. So where we are emphasizing on different stakeholders, now we have, if you say trader who is looking for certain product. So how are we connecting to the airport? So we ask the farmers to enroll. So this is yet to be launched. In fact, the online platform, maybe this is the first meeting I'm talking about it. It's yet to be launched. This is again a segment of Agrighar, where we'll be talking about connecting all these stakeholders through the platform. So this has, so when there was a need for me, I identified a gap that all these players were present differently. They're not connected through a platform. So I designed an e-commerce platform, like online platform, where I'm trying to connect all these stuff. This is one step where we will be addressing the all the stakeholders. The other is we are establishing a multi-food processing industry. We are coming up with, maybe in month of May, we are going to launch it. This is again a 3 years effort which has gone through because of COVID, it got delayed. In fact, we were supposed to launch it before, but due to COVID, we had lost 2 years, and then we started our works in the from past 1 year, and now we are seeing that this is a multi-food processing industry, what I am establishing. So this is again a world-class infrastructure what I am building up, where we can say the farmer might produce anything. If he is producing paddy, we have a paddy mill. If he is producing dals or pulses, we have a dal mill. If he is producing millet, we have a millet processing unit. If he is doing any oil seed, we have a cold press oil unit. Again, if he's doing some spices or any kind of special commercial crops like turmeric or chili, we have pulverizers which can convert into value-added product. Again, we have solar cold storage to store to increase the shelf life of fruits and vegetables. Again, we have solar dehydrator where we can increase the shelf life to much more lever. Once the processed, once the harvested product is there, we will be selling, we'll be connecting to farmers, we'll be training them, the farmers, to sell the raw product. But again, the leftover product or a kind of a quantum of product will be, because see, I am teaching through my practice. So I am practicing first and I'm teaching through practice, because though I was involved in training them or creating awareness, that impact was not we were not able to create, because they cannot see a physical structure explaining them. So now Agrighar is coming up with a physical structure which can be used for training all these on all these entities, and training on the concepts of value addition, in fact. So now we have come up with a manufacturing unit and also an incubation center, where we say we will be able to train these farmers on the concepts of storage, processing, primary processing, packaging, branding, and how you want to sell in the market. So we have an like end-to-end support ecosystem, where we can say, if you're having a farm product or a commodity, so how you want to go ahead with the market. So we are connecting those entire value chain by creating an infrastructure where we can address most of the gaps. So again, this is one more thing what we are doing. The other services what we will be offering is, again, we are giving manufacturing as a service. This would be like the most of, I'm expecting this would be accepted very well, because even before I can say that, okay, I'm training you on value addition and packaging, but to get you investment, you may join my incubation model, or even to be convinced that you establish your enterprise, first use my machinery. The existing machinery, use my machinery, put some charge for it and take the benefit. So I'm inviting farmers or inviting any entrepreneur to come and use my machinery and take back the value-added product. If a farmer is having 10 tons of paddy, he can come and use my machinery at a particular cost for those 10 ton processing and take back whatever the value-added product is there. And we will train how to brand his product and everything through our incubation system. So we are addressing the gap in a holistic way, where we are saying we are connecting most of the dots. We are trying to connect most of the dots, most of the stakeholders through our online platform. Again, we are creating an infrastructure where we can say we can convince more entrepreneurs to come into agriculture sector, where they say there is a lot of scope in manufacturing through our manufacturing unit. Again, even before going into market, for people who want to work in the marketing areas, they can take the product as in well. So I'm opening up, I'll be doing white labeling. In fact, if Agriculture Info wants to sell certain kind of product under their brand, so I can brand on your name and I can send. It's only the packaging because we are having like a packaging facility also in built in our infrastructure, where we say the raw product is there. So I'm teaching, I have a dry storage, cold storage, where I can teach storage and warehousing benefits to whoever is coming to my doorstep. Again, after storage, we will be teaching primary processing, just dehusking and grading, sorting and dehusking, and all these stuffs are coming into primary processing. Again, when it comes to secondary processing, removing the husk and creating polished rice or polished dal or polished millets. And again, when it comes to tertiary processing, we are also having a rava maker, flour maker, where we are also going to tertiary processing and value-added products like ready-to-eat and ready-to-cook products, where we'll be going for instant idli, upma, dosa, vada, all these products. The product development is also part of our infrastructure, where we have a food testing lab coming up in our infrastructure, saying that we will help you in testing your product, nutritional value testing, or any kind of. So we are coming up with a infrastructure facility, a kind of 11,200 square feet infrastructure facility. And I'm the first beneficiary to teach, because I used government scheme to get this infrastructure established at my place. So I am teaching through by practicing, and also saying that when it is possible for Sowmini to establish an Agrighar, why not for others? So this is what is going on now. The unit will be ready by May, so we'll be launching it, and then we can speak about more of how branding. And we do conduct online trainings, offline trainings, because again, training center, now we are empaneled with the Agriculture Skill Council of India, where we want to do paid trainings or free trainings. If someone is sponsoring the program, we have empaneled, because the certification, again, for the trainees, the certification also matters. And again, this will be like an additional benefit, because once they get trained, they should be having sufficient knowledge. So we'll be doing all the modules for training, and we are mostly working on the skill development and enterprise development in the agriculture sector. So first, we are concentrating with 6 to 7 types of units, saying that we have like the rice mill is there, dal mill is there, millet mill is there, cold press oils is there. Again, we have solar dehydration, solar cold storage. So all these 6 units will be our first entry level enterprises, which will be promoting. And across this value chains, again, we will be doing on the procurement, and harvesting, and post-procurement operations also will be training. So this will be the kind of structure which will be working for next 6 months or somewhere, where we say, okay, this is the benefit which we'll be creating, and this can be emphasized. Like one unit I'm trying to address, and I have scope. I'm also planning to establish another 2 years, because this unit took like 2 years. Maybe the next unit might be taking 1 year. So we are expecting kind of when the business is there, why not we expand? So that is the scope of Agrighar, and we are welcoming all agri graduates. We are welcoming all those people who wish to establish enterprises, or if they want to know skill, they want to increase their skills. Apart from the education, we also, so most of the employers look for skill. So even I emphasize on skill development, even to my employees, I say that skill is a more important thing. Education gives you only knowledge, but skill is which gives you experience. So you have to really work on your skills and then increase your value. Any more questions?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. We have now completed the round of questions on behalf of agricultureinformation.com. We like to thank Dr. Sowmini Sunkara for the talk and for answering the questions. I like to also thank all the participants in the meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am.